Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. A lot of pitching signings to catch up on, and spring training's rolling. Oh yeah, some sister, brother, sister. We got some stuff to talk about. We have some stuff to talk about. Zach Gallen.
Ooh, Colson Montgomery, good matchup.
Good matchup.
Yeah.
Good matchup. Count leverage matters. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, February 18th. You know what today is, Coach Trev? Get ready to get that cell phone out. The Jombino's birthday. Shout out. Yeah? Already live?
I had it up. Yep.
Okay.
Also Ash Wednesday.
Oh, wow. A twofer. Shout out to the big guy, 37. We're going to catch up on some ball today and some not ball. A little bit of off the field, Coach Trev, because like you mentioned, maybe one of the biggest stories in sports right now, although Olympics and what they're doing in the village and all that stuff. But baseball, the cage got rattled, and a CBA pod that we're going to be coming up. The first big chess move just happened, and I don't know what to do with it. And I think people are. I'm worried about what I'm going to say. Before we get there, how are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. I have my own worries. Many people might know this. I probably talked about on the show. I bought my son a e-bike for Christmas, and it wasn't like fast enough. Basically, like his friends had this other one that I didn't want to get, but now he's like lagging behind. So he's really, really wanted it. Ended up getting him that one, and I put it together last night. Took it for a spin. It's dangerous. And now I'm going through this like dilemma of like, did I just do like the worst thing possible as a parent?
No.
So that's where I'm at.
I mean, he's going to take a spill, and there's a range of where that lands, but that's how you learn, man. Like, I don't know. I remember my first traumatic bike accident. I was going downhill.
That's not making me feel better
I know.
at all.
Did you ever fall off a bike? Like, yes, you did.
I didn't have a motorcycle bike that goes like 40 miles an hour
that's
when
fair.
I was 10 years old.
That's fair. I mean, how fast did bikes get going downhill as like a kid? Like, we were probably gaining some speed. I don't know.
I mean, you probably felt like you're going a lot faster than you were going.
Yeah, you're probably
one of those
right.
things, yeah.
He's gonna be great. He's Teddy Plouffe. He's Teddy Ball.
We got some stuff to talk about. And by the way, the Olympic Village and like what we're going to talk about, not too dissimilar.
Unfortunately close. And we didn't think we'd be talking about it. We probably thought the Olympic Village situation we would cover. It is a Wednesday episode, so the life advice at the end. Man, Trev, okay, this is a serious topic. The headline is shocking. And we're going to talk all the ball. This originally was just going to be a ball catch-up episode. Verlander, Gallen, Bassitt. The Padres did their now annual collection of players that have a ton of upside and also potentially not. But first, we have to cover this Tony Clark situation. The bomb got dropped yesterday. Passan, Rosenthal came out with an article. Tony Clark, the MLBPA president, resigns, which I think that's detail oriented there because I think could have been fired. And allegedly, we've got some inappropriate stuff going on. And Trev, this is the original report was that there was like money embezzling type stuff from this Players Way Youth Baseball Initiative group. And then about 30 minutes later, we've got an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law that also he hired to the union. So, Coach, I'm going to defer. I'll kick off. Why don't you lead us into this a little bit?
I'll take the ball here. This is, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big story. Tony Clark, who I was on the committee that voted him in. Why are we going single shot here? Get back up here. I don't like that. Like, it felt like I was on trial right there.
Yeah, that was a little intense. I like it. BBD's here today, by the way. We're running it back.
Shout out big you know what.
Jom's B-Day.
Um, okay. That threw
Yeah,
me off a little bit
yeah,
there. Big story.
big
Obviously, we're in
story.
a year that bargaining needs to happen. The end of the collective bargaining agreement is December 1st, 2026. Things need to start happening between the union and Major League Baseball so we don't have a lockout, so we can extend or have a new CBA and continue playing this beautiful sport. It was already going to be contentious because there's been a lot of talk about a salary cap, and the Dodgers winning back-to-back World Series really has amplified that because of the way that they're able to spend with their TV deals. So there's a lot of things going on, and the union, the Major League Baseball Players Association, needed to be tight about how things were going. This is about as loose as it gets, Coach.
This is as loose as it gets.
I will say a few things. Again, I did vote Tony Clark in. He was voted unanimously during that process. Excuse me. He was a guy that Michael Weiner suggested to the group, and that was our guy. Michael Weiner was like, that was our guy. So it was almost a no brainer for us. A little bit of hesitance because other leagues having former players as the head of their unions has not worked out well.
Mm.
But we figured, hey, like Tony's getting an endorsement by the guy that we trust the most in the world. Like, all right, let's do this. And for the most part, Tony's been fine. I don't think he was the best,
Right.
but I think he's done a good job leading the union. Was there, like had a good voice to him, a good presence to him. Like he was in it, man. Like he was in it. Like he was a guy that took the job very, very seriously. I guess until he didn't,
Yeah.
because what was really happening here, where there was a licensing company called One Team Partners that was part owned by the union, and then there was Players Way, which was like a youth baseball type initiative, and that was where this investigation was going. Players Way had spent like a ton of money, but really like didn't have anything to show for it, like a few appearances, showcases, call them what you will, and that prompted an investigation. So that already was a little weird. A lot of players like were just told this thing was happening, didn't really understand exactly what it was, and it's one of those things like that's like so far on the back burner of a player's mind. It's like number one, I'm trying to be a good baseball player. Number two, like we have bigger fish to fry with the upcoming end of the CBA. So like there's a lot of things on your mind. This kind of slipped through the cracks. But there was the investigation there, which was not a good look for Tony. And then
Mm.
during this investigation, there was, an incident found between Tony and his sister-in-law, who, as you mentioned, he hired to do things for. I don't know if it was not necessarily for the union, but some part of a business that he had influence on.
Yeah.
So there's inappropriate relationship, a little bit of nepotism, a lot of bad things happening kind of all at once for Tony, and now he's out, coach. And he had, I mean, obviously he had to be.
He's out. He's out, and he has to be. That's good final notes by you there, Trev. Yeah, man. I mean, it was insane. Like, we have a pretty baseball centric office here, and again, I wonder for our listeners. I think a lot of them do care about the labor negotiations and stuff, because I think if you're old enough to tune into this program, I think that you start to appreciate, and especially, dude, the crap we've gone through between, and it's where you landed on, like, Tony Clark has done a fair job, because I think if you wanted to be hypercritical, you could say below fair, but there also has been a lot of crazy circumstances going from COVID into that initial lockout, non-lockout. Like, there has been a lot going on. I know as we were Labor Pod people, we discussed that if you went voting through the years on some of the CBAs, you could say the players may have lost a couple steps. I know we've covered that in years past, and I'm sure we're going to check in on that coming up. But this is just crazy. And it's I guess on the Tony Clark side, man, it feels as messy as possible. I mean, when everyone was reading that sister-in-law, we live in a world of internet jokes that, our guy Foolish tweeted out what kind of everyone was thinking of, like, wait, is that is that brother? Complicated stuff that you'd never think we'd be talking about on Talking Baseball unless it was a full-blown goof or a skit or something like that. And that's on top of the misuse, I don't know if embezzlement's the right word, abuse of power, misuse of resources, Eastern District of New York is investigating him and the use of the funds. And then, I guess the sister stuff is more, I don't know, just a check on character.
And the fact that she was hired.
Right.
So it becomes an inappropriate workplace relationship as well. Okay, so getting to what's next and like what we can expect. I think the messaging has been very, very clear from the players, who they've all basically said the same thing. That's kind of how it goes with this stuff. And this is true. It's not like it's fake.
Right.
It's like Tony doesn't make the decisions.
Right.
Like Tony's was the voice in the head, but there's committees of players that vote on these things, and Tony just brings it to the table. And he's not even the lead negotiator. He was just kind of like,
he's a figurehead. He's
a figurehead.
Literally 6'8", like in a way a larger than life person. I will say this, we've made a couple jokes about his look over the years because it's so identifiable. That massive white beard on a 6'8" massive man. Like when Tony Clark walked in a room, it's like a powerful thing. Again, that image has changed a little bit for us. But yeah, the players, I don't know. It was kind of, we've got a Jameson Taillon quote on the sheet here. Chris Bassitt now with the Baltimore Birds that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, like you're right. Everyone came out, and again, could there be a weird world in 2 years where the article comes out where it's like Tony Clark not being there was great for the players? Again, that would almost be too aggressive for what we're saying, that like Tony Clark wasn't the players union. He represented it.
I think there was already a little bit of a divide in like what people thought about Tony Clark in the union. There was, I believe this was 2 years ago, the whole mess of almost like a coup kind of in the players union when, they were going through that minor league baseball, getting them under the umbrella of the Players Association. There was a guy that was kind of saying, hey, like the middle class is being completely forgotten here. And, there was, some bad things said about some of my friends from taking phone calls. So like there has been a little bit of dissension kind of within the Players Association. But again, the messaging will always be the same because it is players for players. I mean, that's what a union is. So that's what they're saying. I mean, Jameson Taillon, the strength of the union isn't one person. It's about the players. It's always been about that. I mean, that is the truth. And that is what you're going to hear from every single person that is asked about this. So, I mean, I don't think a lot of things change. I do think they need to hire someone quickly. I know Bassitt says we don't want to rush into this, but we want to start negotiations, the Players Association and Major League Baseball needs to start negotiations as soon as possible.
Right.
Because we need them to not drag this into the off season and like, oh, well, here, can we start talking now? Like, I hate that. Like, it's time to start now. Forget about the leverage. It's about the fans and the future of baseball. That's what we need to think about. But I think if you're interested in this at all, there's tons of stuff written about it. Bruce Meyer, who's been like the lead negotiator for the union for quite some time, I'm assuming he's the guy that's going to be voted in as the interim director. And then we'll see what happens next. Is a guy like my guy, Kevin Slowey, like, does he?
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. I don't know if they would go another former player again. I think that would be something that would be – I think that would be frowned upon. If we're being honest, I think if we went back in time, we would have thought about more of that. Not that, like, again, not that, like, Tony did something crazy bad at the for the most part of his leadership in the union. But I think it'd be hard pressed to put another player in that position. So I'm assuming Bruce Meyer gets the nod, and then they start these negotiations. What I did find interesting, um, you know, thinking about what Major League Baseball will use this for, like how can they weaponize this? Like, I don't know if
Right.
that's the right term.
No, that was what I was gonna ask you. It's kind of like, will this actually affect anything? Because we just kind of came out and said, like, yeah, he's the guy, and the players and all that. But also at the same time, anything in this environment, like you mentioned, the Dodgers are being used as like one of the biggest negotiating chips in this whole thing. Which, at the end of the day, okay, one of the problems in baseball is the smaller market teams not spending enough money and being competitive enough and not having a way to enforce that. The Dodgers are being used as this massive billboard and target because they won back-to-back. They've spent more money. Again, the Blue Jays were very close to winning that World Series. That, like, would it be as much of a topic? But in a negotiation like this, where there's a lot of public showing, and just anything can be used, like this has to be used somehow by MLB, right?
They'll attempt it, but I think it's happened so far away from where they're actually going to be negotiating that it won't really matter. I do think I have a timeline of and like kind of the playbook. If I was thinking about this, obviously reading all these articles kind of brought back, my days in the association and
Mm.
like, and I was into it. I liked it. I liked the labor part of it and kind of knowing the ins and outs. So, the salary cap thing, they're going to bring that to the table first. That's going to
Sure.
be the number one thing.
As they have since 1994.
Basically, and they know the player stance on that is it's just a no. It's a no, and they've known that for a long time. So I think the next move then will be to threaten to they're like it's going to be a lockout. Like there will be a lockout. That's
From
like
December 1st, or I
yeah.
believe that's the date. It's
So
missing games, which
yes,
those are the
lockout
two
doesn't mean
phrases.
missing games.
Correct.
Lockout just means after December 1st, there's no agreement, and so like communication between players and whoever the team like stops. You can't go to facilities. That's
Can
all the
almost
lockout means.
guarantee there will be a lockout.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Missing games is the big thing, and so they'll threaten that. But what I think is the following year is when the national like TV rights are up and they're
Right.
going to start negotiating those. How can you go into a negotiation when you're trying to freaking strike it big with missing games and fan dissentment like at the forefront of what you're bringing to the table? Like you want to look at be like this shiny object and look at Otani and look at Judge.
Right.
We got these superstars, man. The game is good. Look at the World Series ratings. It's been awesome. You don't want to bring earmuffs shit to the table.
Mm.
Hey, we just missed 60 games and our fans hate us right now. You want to buy us? Like they don't want to do that.
Right.
So what I think will happen is threaten the cap, move off of that, and then this is where I think it gets really sticky. Is we already have we call it a luxury tax. It's the competitive balance tax. We have all the different tiers of it. I think what they'll try to do with that is just raise it, like the penalties, so much that it becomes like it's already a soft cap. Teams say we're not going over this first tier. I think they're going to try to raise it so much that it's like you can't go over like 1,000% if you go over dollar for dollar. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What's 1,000%? $10 for every dollar that you spend over.
Yeah.
Like that's no one would do it. It would essentially become
a cap.
Like that's where I think it gets sticky. And players are going to have to decide like, well, shit, man, like, are we going to be the ones that say no? And then there is missed games because of that. It's these two sides, man, are going to be playing this game of chicken. And again, I've said this on the show, like, they need to look each other in the eyes and be like, "Hey, guys, I get it. There's some stuff we gotta figure out, but let's not forget about the fans." Like, they need to keep that at the forefront, not like you and I get it, I get their labor negotiations, and I get there's a lot of stuff at play here, but, like, you cannot ostracize your freaking fan base, man. You can't do it, not in 2026 when everything is challenging for your eyeballs, man. Like, everything is there. You cannot go away from your fans. So, like, I it's gonna get ugly. I hope they figure it out before, and maybe it doesn't get ugly. Maybe I'm just used to it being this way, but, um, it's I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's getting me fired up right now.
I think, and we're gonna have a lot of time to chat about it. I do think what's going to be interesting for me, like you mentioned, and it's kind of where we've been, and I'll hand up, and I'm starting to get a little nervous about it, and this is kind of what the ownership side wants. You and I have kind of been like, I don't think this is the lockout, because like you said, with the upgoing, and MLB kind of has their cards on the table, right? Like they have the rights to what, like half the league now?
I think more than that.
It's kind of crazy if you look at the amount of teams that the league now controls their games. That's where MLB is heading. And again, this should be a massive win. Like this is where MLB can get back ahead of the NBA, and maybe they already are. NBA's got a lot of stuff going on that, that dream world of, hey, if you want to watch an MLB game, go here, watch an MLB game. Blackouts, put that in the past. Whether it's local or whether it's trying to find the game on any network, and there'll still be some of that. But basically, if you want to watch a baseball game, you buy this and you can watch a baseball game. Now, what the cost of that and the amount of money, I'm sure, could get us hot to trot at a certain point. But either way, that's where MLB's heading, because I do think they realize you need people to watch the product, and you need the product to be good. And guess what? The product is really good right now. I think what's going to be interesting with these negotiations, we know how MLB negotiates. They put it out there. They wait as long as possible, and then they'll come back, and the players just kind of have to survive and advance a little bit. I think there is so much on the line, like you were talking about with the TV networks and just where the game is at with the momentum. Like that matters. It just does. That I don't think they'll be willing to sacrifice this one. I almost wonder if negotiations get into a tighter range, like a 3-year CBA extension, because that's kind of what MLB is building towards. Again, who knows? I'm just guessing at this point. The other thing that I will throw in the pot that I do think is interesting, and I should give a shout out, Bill Simmons, kind of a legend of the game and a lot of NBA. They have a massive tanking problem right now. Like not half the league, but a third of their league is already tanking, and they still have 2 months to go because tanking just gets rewarded in that sport. And luckily, baseball kind of doesn't have that because the draft and how MLB just works doesn't work that way. And in NBA, with how significant one player can be, it's a massive problem in the league, and it really wasn't getting addressed. And Adam Silver came out over All-Star Weekend and kind of was like laying down the law. Like, this is going to change, which when you're mentioning, like, these leagues look at each other because that's all they got. That's all they have. Like, the American sports leagues, that's pretty much the only thing they can compare themselves to. That if NBA were to do something dramatic to try to affect the bottom parts of the league, and they're talking about different things, whether it's limiting lottery picks year over year or if it's you lose money on your cap. Baseball needs a way to incentivize the lower teams to compete just a little more. Just the fact we haven't talked about the Cleveland Guardians maybe bringing in Lucas Giolito or anyone for the past how many years? Like, it's just not good for the game. That I do wonder if basketball were to take a dramatic turn to improve their product, because think about that. If you have a third of your team tanking for the second half of the year, I mean, my God, like you can ruin almost all of your games on a given night. And that's such a dangerous area to live in that I think leagues are starting to come back. We lived in this America 2000s to now, how can we make the most money possible, that we just did get too far from, hey, the game still needs to be the product. Like, you still need to start there, and then we can monetize off of that. That I think the concept of how do we make our game the best, and then from there, weaponize it, monetize it, that I do wonder if in the timeline, if the NBA were to do something drastic before the upcoming baseball CBA negotiations, that would give the players a little more ammo to incentivize that side of it.
I see what you're saying there. The couple things that I think need to happen, and people will just point to the Dodgers because they have a sweetheart deal. Their TV deal is ridiculous. Right. They don't have to pay the revenue sharing like the other teams do because of a bankruptcy negotiation, which, like, can that be addressed?
Right.
Like, can the Dodgers just, like, say, all right, dude, like, if you're the Dodgers, why would you? Like, this is like, it's a contract. It's like written.
They shouldn't bring that to the table.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that is the main thing that people are complaining about. It's like they have a head start. And then, you can't really, if you're an owner of a team, you can't complain about other owners having more money than you. Sorry, you can't. The only thing that makes sense to me is, yes, the TV deals are different. The Dodgers have a head start. Is there, a big market, small market thing? Like a little bit, but if we all get together, it doesn't become that anymore. If the revenue sharing is equal, it doesn't become that anymore. Then it becomes like, hey, like, if you can't own a team and compete, then you need to sell the team or bring on some partners and, like, cash in on the freaking value of your team. Like, that's the dirty little secret, is that, most of these guys could make, have their franchise values have just completely gone through the roof for a majority of these ownership groups. So, there's that aspect. I gotta I gotta push back on, like, the cap and the floor, because how many teams are just gonna spend to the floor? I feel like that'll just happen.
A race to the floor for about 9 teams.
Yeah, so it's the revenue sharing needs to get addressed. I don't know how they can do that with the Dodgers and say, "Hey, like, you can't keep all that money." Like, you need to, like, let's get back in, like, everybody else's realm. Don't know how they do that, but it is going to get a little nasty. And I still will hold the sentiment that we're going to have a lockout, but I don't think we'll miss games. It's just, it looks too bad for what really matters to Major League Baseball, and that's the next TV deal.
Yeah, I know he's kind of become the target of it because of Paul Skeens and their spending history. But I think if I look it up right now, I think Bob Nutting bought the Pirates in '96 for around $100 million. He could make a penny on that if he wanted to. And yeah, there's where things do start to get fun. There can be some pretty wild creative solutions, like if you don't win 70 games, could you lose draft picks or something like that? Like, incentivize a good product. Like, incentivize teams competing. Like, it was a big eye-open moment for me. I think it was brother Jeff Passan who was talking about it. But it's like, we have penalties for teams trying to compete too hard. We don't have penalties for teams not trying to compete. And when, like, that as the one-liner there is kind of like what are we doing? This is professional sports. And it just feels like a basic thing we've been missing. And, like, that should allow teams like the Brewers to be celebrated more for them, being within their means while also spending a bit and being one of the more competitive teams. Like, I don't know. It can be done. It can be done. So yeah, if you like that, people, fast forward to November, probably December. We'll see you there.
Do you want to get your Tony Clark jokes out? Because you said you had a few.
No. I will say I
think it's okay.
For our Talkin' Baseball Game of Thrones crossover crew, I can't get out of my head the Master Pycelle scene. When he walks around like a limping old man, and then it cuts to him one time, and he's with a lady, and he, like, snaps his back and walks around all jiggly. just because they kind of have the same beard going on.
You're saying Tony Clark is him?
It's just the beard for me and whatever, adult things Tony Clark was getting into. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think I heard one rumor. Again, we're still in rumor mill mode. I heard one rumor that it enters an area that I don't want to joke about. So I don't know, man. It's rough, and I hope there is, I guess for the players in baseball, I hope there's an article in a year or two that's like, in a way, it ended up being a good thing for baseball. Because right now, it's just nasty work.
He always called me T. Okay. And I'm like, all right, hold on. Like, right. You either call someone by, like, one letter if, like, you're freaking boys, or you don't remember their name and you remember the first letter of their name.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, like, do you just, like, really not know my name and just call me T?
I'm thinking he didn't know your name. No offense.
That's tough. I mean, I was, like, on, like, some high-ranking boards there in some of the negotiations. I figured he would know my name. I voted the guy in.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of a nickname guy. Like, but one letter's tight. One letter's tight. Let's talk some baseball.
Okay. I am. That hurt.
Why are we always saying that on this show? It's time to talk baseball finally.
That's the name of the show.
Happy birthday, Jim. Yeah, let's say welcome to Talking Baseball. Today's episode is sponsored by Hims. Hims cannot help you fold a fitted sheet, but it can help with your performance in the bedroom. Take control of ED with personalized treatments prescribed by licensed providers, 100% online through Hims. You can access personalized prescription treatment options for ED if prescribed. This isn't a one-size-fits-all care that forgets you in the waiting room. It's your health, your goals put first, real medical providers making sure you get what you need to get results. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/talkin. That's hims.com/talkin for your free online visit. hims.com/talkin. Featured product include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details and restrictions and important safety information. Actual price will depend on products and subscription plan. How about this? Let's lump this together a little bit, Coach Trev. Or maybe I'll Chris Rose you, because does it get any better? And by the way, the content coming out of Arizona spring training right now, Chris Rose, Bob Sirocco, Dan Rourke, and Jolly Olive. It doesn't get better than that. Look at this.
I'm so sick of Jolly Olive.
Okay, let's talk about that.
The trajectory, it's too high for me.
The bravery he has rolling that hair out every day is just special. Happy for them. Maybe we'll
You ever just think about the name Jolly Olive? Like,
I do.
What is that? I love it. I understand, Jack Oliver, but I just doxed him.
Yeah, I love doing that. That's my favorite thing to do. And go
Billy
check
Freeman.
out me and him do some tier list do some tier lists together on the Wake and Jake channel. So if you're really binging baseball,
first base drop today.
First base, wow. Trev, I guess in the Chris Rose fashion, Justin Verlander to the Tigers, Zach Gallen to the D-backs, Chris Bassitt to the Baltimore Orioles. Which one of those signings jumps out or is the most impactful for you?
They're all so different.
Right.
Like Zach Gallen going back to the Diamondbacks on what essentially was a qualifying offer, but he has deferrals on it is an interesting one to me. And like thinking about him in other places kind of got me going, but he ends up back with the D-backs, and I think they really need him. So like great for the Diamondbacks, but I think if you're asking me which one I like the most, I think it's JV, dude, to the Tigers. And they like have like a staff now. They have like a full-blown like deep pitching rotation to go along with like a very underrated offense. And the story writes itself if JV goes back to Detroit and they win something after being on those teams and like not winning with some of like they're going to go down those 2012, 13, 14 Tigers. Maybe it was 11, 12, 13. as one of the better teams not to do anything. We talk about the Phillies being like that. And now here he is trying to kind of like put him over the hump. We talked about last year, like the improvement he made at the end of the season. I believe it was because he was wearing Reeboks.
Yeah.
Does he have the Reeboks on in spring training? Can we get pictures?
Or do you save that? Do you keep that in your back pocket for May 10th if you get off to a slow start? And it's like,
Do you just call China up and are like, hey, like, can you manufacture my Reeboks for me? I think you can do that, coach. It might cost you a little bit.
I don't know who you'd contact over there.
I got contacts in China.
Yes, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you hear this whole Eileen Gu story? She's like one of the stars of the Olympics. She's Chinese American. But she went Team China. I think she's doing well financially, but yeah, I don't know. Okay.
My mother-in-law is going to take a vacation, a trip to China.
That used to be more commonplace, right? Like,
I mean, think it like probably is a fascinating place to go visit.
The Great Wall? See it from space? That's pretty nutty.
Man, what's up with the Great Wall?
What is up with the Great Wall?
What's up with that, bro?
How long do we think the Great Wall
is? Just blow up the Great Wall if you want. It's not that great of a wall.
Little mid-ep trivia. How long?
How long is deep? How does fire induce stone?
How long do you think the Great Wall is?
How long do I think it is?
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna go like, this is a bad guess, I think. I'm gonna go 576 miles.
Again, hosting the trivia, I ended up spoiling it for myself. Good news is I think we might be back on Team Great Wall. 13,171 miles.
That makes sense calling it the Great Wall.
That's
My wall would not have been great.
That's a great wall.
My wall would have been the Trevor Plouffe of walls, just like, just there kind of.
Before I looked this up, I was going to say, like, is it a lifetime thing to, like, walk it? No, you can't walk that.
Forrest Gump.
Okay.
How did we get there? Oh, yeah, Justin Verlander's cleats. That's
Verlander calling China just to check in. I like the answer, Trev, because I'll be honest, and, we got Dalton, resident Snakes fan here. I guess I'm Snakes 2.0. The Gallen signing, okay, like the market kind of wasn't there for him. He goes back to a safe place, which, again, I don't know what final offers he had on the table. Supposedly there was a couple multi-year offers out there, reported by Mark Feinsand. But, you go back to the place and you can build yourself up. And he did finish the year strong. His final 11 starts, he had a 3.32 ERA. That, Zach Gallen has the talent in there to get one of these large pitching contracts that he wants to go back to a safe place, a familiar place that you don't walk away and have, earmuffs Dalton, like what he just watched Jordan Montgomery do, like go to a whole new franchise. Obviously, there's injuries and stuff there, but he ended up in a in a bad feeling on that. That Zach Gallen goes back, and let's be honest, with the D-backs expectation, I hope we're talking about them having a hot start and competing for an NL wild card where a team got within 83 games last year, got them in. Cincinnati. I don't know. The Zach Gallen thing is like, if we did an early who could be traded by the trade deadline, I think Zach Gallen would probably be on that list. And I don't love that, but that's just honest. Verlander, you're right. Like the Tigers, I think they have the best odds to make the American League playoffs because of that thinned out AL Central this year. That the old dog returning to Detroit in Scooble's last season, Hinch at the helm, and open American League. Like that is, you've seen this on the mound, Coach Trev.
It's terrifying for me, still to this day.
The old bull, man. No, and he doesn't have the Reeboks on there. It doesn't look like he has cleats on there. Just generic black shoes. What are those?
Those look like Hokas.
They look like restaurant non-slips. And maybe that's what he's got.
He is 43, dude. Like he needs some of those shoes with the big support.
Yeah, you got it. You start feeling that a little more. That the Tigers are one of the more fun teams. Like you mentioned, their rotation right now, Scooble, Valdez, Flaherty, Verlander, how's your testosterone? Casey Mize, who had his like breakout season last year. And then you talk about starting pitching depth. Troy Melton, Cater Montero, your guy. Sawyer Gibson-Long has thrown innings in this league. That the Tigers are just going to be a fascinating storyline of this season. I've talked about their two top prospects who are going to be 21, Max Clark and McGonigal. Can either of them make a leap or be part of something more impactful? I think they're going to keep them and try to connect this bridge of this Detroit Tigers team. But the Tigers are a really fun storyline that I think the conversation came down to him and Bassitt because I wanted an old dog to go to Baltimore because I think Baltimore needs an old dog. And I think Bassitt's personality kind of fits that team that, like, we love thinking about clubhouse environments. Like, Chris Bassitt for the pitchers and Pete Alonso for the hitters. You just changed the tone of that whole clubhouse.
Yeah, Bassett's one of those guys, like, true professional. Also, like, he's got a funny bone in him. I think he brings, obviously, a ton of experience to that clubhouse. I think he will be a great leader for him. I usually don't give that to starting pitchers because I don't think they just play enough to be leaders. But I think Bassitt can be. The rotation there, I think, needed that depth. Because, look, you got Rogers and Bradish at the top. You bring in Boz. You're like, okay, that's a 1, 2, 3 that you could kind of like figure out. But like, what are we gonna do for 4 and 5? And now that you bring in a Chris Bassitt, I think it obviously just lengthens what they have. Zach Eflin, being their 5 guy. Like, all right, like this is something you can work with. We were trying, like, Framber would have fit in great there. But I think Bassitt and like kind of the consistency that he brings is just fine for them. Like they have a real case for being then the Royals go from like 60 wins to whatever the heck. Like this they have a chance to be the biggest turnaround team in all of baseball this year. And I think Bassitt adds to that. So a great signing by them. My Twins need to do something now too, Jake.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's news there. Don't just okay me. One of the better pitchers in the league who always ranks high, not only in traditional statistics, but stuff plus in like the advanced metrics, Pablo Lopez, most likely going to have TJ. And now, like, I said this before the show. I guess I'll say it on the show because I'm a man of integrity. Our guy, Tom Pohlad, guy who I had a Zoom conversation with about the team, saying all the right things. Is he going to jump on this opportunity? Which, by the way, I think is a very like easy win for him. Go sign Lucas Giolito. It cost you 1 year. It's going to cost you 15 to 20 million, whatever it is. And like you can say, hey, like we had a problem here, and here's the best we can do, and I'm going to do it right now. I think it's like a no-brainer move for them. We'll see if that happens, though. But he would also fall in line with like kind of what we're talking about. Verlander, Gallen, Bassitt, Giolito. Those were the guys we were looking to fill these back end of the rotations. Giolito would come into the Twins and be like, I'm going to be near the top of your rotation.
We brought it to the Twins. I want to close one thing off on Bassitt.
That was a fair segue.
It was fair. It was fairish. Just going back to the clubhouse. I mean, Justin Verlander, 43, gonna be in there every day with all those young pups on the Tigers. I think that matters. Chris Bassitt. So, like, okay, before Verlander signed, the oldest player on Detroit's roster is Javi Baez for the players, or position players, 33, and then it would have been Framber, the 32, who they just signed. Kenley Jansen, 38, in the back end of that bullpen. For Baltimore, Chris Bassitt is 37 years old. Eflin would have been the leader in the clubhouse for the starting pitchers. He'll turn 32 soon. And then in the lineup, Pete is now Taylor Ward and Pete are going to be 32. Pete's 31. That I don't know, man. I think those are big years. Like something I like doing, look back at every 3 years or so of your life and think about how much changes. And like Chris Bassitt having 6 years on Zach Eflin, having more than a decade on Shane Baz. That stuff matters, man. It matters organizationally. And, like, Bassitt came off a solid year, a Chris Bassitt season where he was also electric in the postseason. That I really like that.
Yeah, you get AL East. He's been there, so he knows the league, which I think is important. Sometimes going to a new division can, mess with you. You don't know the hitters as well enough. And a lot of times it's more like organization based. Like, I know this organization, this is what they like to do. Another reason why I believe the Orioles liked Bassitt and went for him after Framber, probably the same reason they were on Framber, is because he eats innings. Like, he's a guy that throws innings. Like, he's what I would consider, and this is, crazy to think, he's like a modern day workhorse.
Yeah.
And that means something a little different than it used to mean.
Yeah, man.
But he's a guy that, when you're talking about some of the Orioles pitching staff coming back off of injuries or not having a ton of innings under their belt, he's a guy that you can rely on to keep the bullpen fresh and pitch some innings for you. So love it for the Orioles. I like all these signings. The Gallen to the D-backs, no offense, though, that's like the least fun one.
It's a fence.
But Verlander and Bassitt kind of do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, Gallen kind of made a business decision, and I hope it pays off for him. And going to where the coaches, the trainers. Like, I don't know. He didn't have his curveball for a lot of last season.
His curveball got banged last year, and I wonder what the pitch mix is going to be. He hasn't really changed it a ton over the last 3 years. It's been about the same. I wonder if he just says, I'm going to get in the lab. Like, do you do that on a prove it year? Do you get back in a lab and say, I'm going to completely change my arsenal? I'm going to look to maybe lower or heighten my arm slot. Like, are there major changes coming for Zach Gallen? I'm curious. They know the body. Like, they know this guy. They know what he does well, what he doesn't do well. So, sometimes you want outside voices to come in and say, hey, let's try this. But also, there's something about, hey, we already know everything about you, and now here's our recommendations. Are you willing to do them? I'm curious. Is that going to happen for Zach Gallen?
Yeah, and hey, everyone root for Zach Gallen this year. Maybe he's on your team later in the year. And he did turn down the qualifying offer that. He will not be able to be offered the qualifying offer again, and that can affect a guy's free agency. And that's where, going back to draft picks and that kind of stuff, the CBAs and commissioners, you can change how teams operate within the rules of the game, and that's kind of some of the stuff I was referencing before to, some of these lower market teams and how you could affect competitiveness and things like that. Anyways, speaking of a weird one of the teams we don't know fully what to do with, every year it feels like we end up in a weird spot. The Padres, they bring in the following. Nick Castellanos coming off. We didn't even really cover that. I'd love to get some of your thoughts, Coach Trev. Herman Marquez makes the NL West jump. Little friendlier place to pitch. Whiffin Canning after his Mets kind of showing out last year. Walker Buehler to a minor league deal. How quickly this game goes. Ty France back on a minor league deal after just mashing lefties in the World Series. And maybe the most important signing, A.J. Preller extends to stay with the Padres. So the Padres, who have this now tradition of being quiet through a chunk of the offseason, Miguel Andujar, roll those R's, by the way, he's in camp. San Diego brings in a flurry of guys we're familiar with. What does it mean? I don't really know.
I'm looking here. I believe Ty France won the Gold Glove.
Oh, that's right. Your defensive, yes, the defensive darling at first base. Correct.
What do we do with these moves, Coach? What do we do with these moves? I think obviously the most interesting one is Nick Castellanos, who I think can be a platoon guy at first base if you want him to be. He didn't hit lefties particularly well last year, but over his career has been a lefty masher. This clubhouse, we talk about clubhouse dynamics, seems either perfect or horrible for him. I can't really tell which one.
Can you imagine?
I'm a Nick Castellanos fan. I think, uh, it just didn't work in Philly. It reduced playing time. It wasn't going well from there. Had it out with the coaching staff, like with a beer in the dugout thing, not great.
Not great.
Not great. Shout out to his teammates for stopping him
Yeah.
and not letting him do it because that would have been a clip that lived on forever.
The
Instead, we
beer
just have a handwritten note
the beer
explaining it.
the beer in the dugout picture lives forever.
And not like, you know what? Like, I'm guaranteed there's been beer in the dugout before, but not an open bottle. Like,
It's
at
the
least you
classic.
pour it in the Gatorade cup.
Put it in a different cup, people. That's what, early Facebook days. Put it in that red cup. Don't have the beer bottle out. That's it.
It's an interesting one. I don't know. Like, they get him for the league minimum.
Right.
So it's Manny Machado saying, you get a $20 million player for the league minimum. I don't know.
Miami.
I understand.
305, raise up.
Yeah, they're boys. They understand. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm maybe a little bit more bullish on the clubhouse stuff because Manny and he kind of fits that like bravado-ish vibe that the Padres give off. There's some big personalities in there. Nick Castellanos definitely one of those guys. But again, I'm not always a change of scenery guy, but clearly Philly wasn't working out there. Like him and Topper and not getting along. That's tough when you just don't have it with your manager. And even, man, some of the players, like when they asked Schwarb if he was a distraction.
That was tough.
That answer that he gave, which was basically like, it's hard to say. Like he just was not trying to throw him under the bus. Like clearly it just wasn't working out there either. And we know we've talked about how the Phillies do have a very good leadership program, good clubhouse there. And, when a guy steps out of line like that, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
New life, new blood. Again, if he gets put in the right role, I think Nick Castellanos can still have success for the Padres.
You look around the roster, again, clubhouse episode, CBA and clubhouse. I am laughing, man. This might be the number one. If I was a 20, 25, 26-year-old getting the call for the first time and I showed up in this clubhouse, you've mentioned how, Major League Baseball is a nervous environment. I'd be looking around at all these dudes. I mean, as intimidated as you could be.
Tatis, Jackson Merrill, by the way, what a great head he has on his shoulders.
Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah, Machado, obviously big personality. Laureano wants to fight you. Like, it's
Bogart's got 300 M's coming his way, right? Like, Cronzone got that extension, our guy.
Where do you got the Padres? Because I know that's kind of like a loaded question. We're about to do TPPs. We're looking at the roster right now. We know this team. Is this like set the over under at 83 wins? Or yeah.
I'd be in on that. I mean, they won 90 last year. They lost Cease, but Cease wasn't like over the moon for them last year. Bobby Suarez hurts. I guess Arise is just an interesting case study of like, what does him not being there, like how much does WAR actually matter? I don't know. I think they deserve a little respect. I think it's part of the reason Preller got the extension. I think them versus the Giants this year lines up to be a ton of fun. Like I want what the Giants did to work. I really do. And I don't know if you've seen your guy, Tony Vitello's press conferences, but he's coming out.
Have we not talked about that on this show?
We have not. Tony V has come out guns a-blazing versus the media, which let me know how that works for you.
Padres' actual win total that a lot of books have is 85 to 86 games, somewhere right in there. So we'll just do 85.5 is the
Checks
actual
out.
line. So you're bullish on them. I always am bullish on the Padres too. I feel like I still want like this massive offensive year. Like I don't understand why they don't hit homers. I feel like they got guys that can do that, but just really hasn't happened. I think the starting pitching scares me a little bit. Jake, I know the bullpen's great, but I think, there's some guys there. I like it. Is it a deep staff? Like, not really.
It's an obnoxious thing to say this time of year, but it's a high floor and it's a low floor and a high ceiling. Like if this roster didn't say Padres, I would say this has some potential to like it could blow up. And you can say that for a lot of teams, kind of. But I could also just see them being good. Like, remember the Jackson Merrill hype train? He didn't really have. He had some weird injuries. He still ended up being solid, but he's still 22. Like,
he's a freaking monster, dude. I love Jackson Merrill.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we could wake up in June and they have the best outfield in baseball. So, and that's they still got a ton of talent in that infield, and I do trust Preller in a way. Like, if the right trade is out there to be had, he's not going to hold on to his prospects. So, in that bullpen, like, I don't know, it can be special. It can be special.
Let's go Joe Musgrove. I think everybody in baseball is rooting for this guy.
Absolutely.
Walker Buehler to the Padres? That doesn't feel right, Coach.
I know this is, again, kind of back to the talking baseball lane. Does Adrian Morejon have a famous wife? BBD, I might need you researching that. I think I saw one of the MLB Fits or one of the Instagram accounts that was doing like maybe it was Super Bowl parties or something.
Interested?
I think Morejon. Again, maybe I'm way off, but I thought I saw him and I was like, okay on double.
I mean, it tracks a Cuban freaking stud, big league ball player.
Right.
I love my Cubans.
You do. We've been doing some interesting exercises with the WBC coming up about like best players from countries. Cuba's an interesting, like, you'd think there'd be one or two more like dudes.
Okay.
Same with Mexico. It's interesting. So I don't know what to do with that. Adrian Morejon wife. Now I've Googled that. Okay, I've ended up in deep internet. Okay, I think what else do we have to cover here? Well,
do you want to talk Tony Vitello and all that? What's going on?
I'd love to get your thoughts because BBD ran the press conferences for me yesterday, and I was shocked. I was shocked how hot from 3 Tony Vitello got.
I have if we want to listen again.
We cannot listen to those.
They're very long.
I will not listen to those again.
Just give me the first, if you can get it, give me the first 30 seconds, like the initial confrontation. I feel like it's important context for the discussion.
Today's episode is sponsored by Amazon. When life throws you a curveball, Amazon's everyday low prices on essentials help you save the day. Amazon has everything you need whenever you need it. From planned purchases to unexpected moments, they've got everything in one place, saving you time and money so you can focus on what matters most. And for us, what matters the most is having as much time every week to catch up on the baseball action. From tech to clothing to daily needs or anything else you need to prepare for the start of baseball season, Amazon has everything you need all in one convenient place and can deliver to you anytime, anywhere. Whether it's routine shopping or handling life's curveballs, shop Amazon and save on essentials. Save the everyday. I mean, BBD has this just ready to go on his...
When did you first think I was taking this job? Do you remember that far back?
Yeah, it was about 4 days before it actually happened, 5 days before.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because
that
was not reality, you know?
No, now that I'm in it, I think the world needs to see it. It's wild. Hey,
we can talk.
Okay. I don't know if Buster would feel the same way, but that wasn't the case. Somebody decides they think they got the information. And, the final blow was about 4 days later. And the thing I'm just kind of having a conversation, therapy, if you will, from walking out of there. But I needed confirmation from the coaches that I worked with that helped boost my status.
I'm done.
All right, yeah. I'm going to Morejon's Instagram. For the people that aren't going to listen to the whole Tony Vitello press conference, he's very spurned by his reporting to take the Giants job, and it goes back to his whole staff at University of Tennessee. And then he's talking about how it changed the course of history. He probably wasn't going to take. It's all over the board, Trev, and it's so he brings it to the table.
I don't love that line, change the course of history, because you can just pick that apart any way you want to. Here's my official take on it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If this is a one-off, it's not that big of a deal. If this stuff continues throughout the year and kind of he's making a lot of it about himself, I'm out. This was a conversation for off the record, and I think he's got to learn that.
Yes.
I told Chris Rose this.
Yes.
Every manager, when you have a scrum, says, all right, we're off the record now. And then they talk about things, and it's fine. They give the reporters some stuff, and it's just you can't record this, and cameras off, and you can't put me on record with this, but here's what's going on. If you want to have that conversation of, hey, I don't like that this got leaked out, because I was basically what he was trying to say there was he didn't want his coaches to know until he was super official with it, because he wanted to make sure that they were okay. They weren't going to be fired. They were going to be the succession would be in place. He was trying to take care of them, and he said they found out too early. They got mad. It caused strife. So I understand where he's coming from. At the same time, when you decide to leave a job, that's gonna happen, man. People aren't gonna be super stoked all the time. They might say they're happy for you, but it's gonna leave wherever you're coming from. It's gonna leave it in a little bit of turmoil. So again, I don't think this is that big of a deal. It gets overblown because it's the first thing we heard from this guy.
And he doubled up, Coach.
Do you care?
Yeah, he did double up the next day.
He came back the next day, doubled up.
I know.
Okay, play it.
Here we go. I want to hear it.
Good morning. Did you hear back much after some of your comments yesterday? Some people were a little surprised to hear you say some of those things.
No. I'm busy with this, so I didn't say anything surprising that I know of. I was just stating the facts. So if somebody tweets out or says something that's not true about you and it affects your life significantly, it's not just a deal where your feelings are hurt, but it has a significant impact, in particularly on my family, which I've obviously got family, but not.
He's very intense about it. And again, maybe who knows where that's rooted from. He's talking about
bottle it up, Coach. Hey,
right. And maybe
put it in the bottle, put a lid on it, and just put it over there, man. This, we got bigger fish to fry. We got a season coming up here.
I agree with you. It was interesting to send it back on the other side. And again, this won't shock people. Tony Vitello, 47. He looks incredible, Trev. I thought he was going to be mid-30s. He's that dude's dialed. So I don't know. Hopefully this is something that you and I are laughing about in July when the Giants are 15 games above 500. And we're remember those weird press conferences? And I don't know. I used to believe in the weird press conference meter, but that changed this year with Liam Cohen and Duval, because that was one of the weirdest shit I've ever seen. At content or not content, that was one of the craziest things, and they had a good season. So end of the day,
tell you what I don't want. Tell you what I don't want. My coach on Twitter.
Yeah, that's a great point. Rob Thompson does not have a Twitter account. He's never gone on Twitter.
Tito, no, yeah, or just
Tito ended up there accidentally one day, and he asked someone to please get it off his phone. That's a new generation of coaches. Speaking of coaches, Trev, I think we start wrapping this up, and we start wrapping it up with our SeatGeek free agent forecast brought to you by SeatGeek. The MLB offseason, it's done, people. Spring training is here. The World Baseball Classic is coming up on us. We're going to be covering it from literally every angle. And SeatGeek, they'll be there too, because they are the #1 rated ticketing app. 35 million downloads over on SeatGeek. So whether you've been on the app, whether you haven't been on the app, make sure you go to SeatGeek, use code TALKIN2026, 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. Code TALKIN2026, 10% off any tickets at SeatGeek. And Trev, is Lucas Giolito the only fish in the sea at this point? Have you checked in on the big guy?
I have not, and now I forgot about the Braves, the injuries they've already had, and the people just coming off of injuries last year. So like not a lot of innings under the belt. Like the Twins are gonna have to be in competition with the Braves for Lucas Giolito, and that hurts my projection a little bit there.
A little bit. The Braves seem to be a little bit of a better opportunity. You said 1 year for Giolito. I mean, of those guys, what he showed in the second half of the season, and I wonder if that gets interesting. I guess Zach Littell's still out there too. Threw a ton of innings last year in a world where innings matter. Mad Max Scherzer, what does he want to do with all of this? Your guy Danny Kalum unsigned? What are we doing?
Put him in the bullpen. Throw him against some lefties. Curveball from the sky.
Actually,
not from the sky. He's not a big guy.
Rhys Hoskins stands out a little bit. I don't know. The Braves seem to be the team that stands out for Lucas Giolito. They lost a lot of starting pitching very early on camp. They're also an organization. I don't know what organizations see when they see Lucas Giolito. I mean, again, one of the taller gentlemen on a baseball field, a right-on-right Bugs Bunny changeup when it's right, that I'd like to think that he's a guy that front offices would love to bring in, that I wonder if it's price point, if him and his agent don't feel comfortable, if they are an injury away. Like we've seen that a couple spring trainings where if another injury happens, that kind of forces a team's hand to not let a season get away from them. Whatever it is, one of the nicer guys that's been to us, and I think upside potential that I hope that gets figured out soon. The Braves do jump off the page when you look at teams, but so do the Twins.
The Braves, man, and Braves fans have to be in their feelings already because we know last year, the main gist of the season they had was because of starting pitching injuries. Now we're starting off already with Schwellenbach, 60-day IL. He's going through a surgery to remove the bone spurs. Hurston Waldrep probably gonna have to have surgery. And then again, they're coming off a season where most of their starting pitching staff that is healthy was hurt last year.
Right.
So it's like they're already really feeling it, and I'm sure a lot of them are saying, "Is this just going to be a repeat of last year?" Man,
they're an interesting team.
Yeah, I was high on the Braves, but already 2 injuries to the pitching staff, the starting rotation, it's got to knock them down a few pegs for me.
That NL East remains wild. The Phillies offseason wasn't exactly what they wanted. Will the Braves be back? Who are the Mets? The good news for everyone is we're sneaking up, man. Feb 18th, some WBC, some more spring training. We'll see if we get any trades or anything like that. I don't know. For now, thank you guys. We miss you. We love you. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you for BBD filling in for Bobby Srirachi, as they're all over Arizona right now. And we will be back when we're back. Monday? Give us a breaking trade where Trev is in the warehouse and we can get physical. Yeah.
Chicks. F for F, baby. It's coming tomorrow night.
It's happening. Master Pycelle style.
Is Swilly just a full-blown food vlogger now? Is that what we're doing?
I think so. Can throw the pill. Watch out.